I'm back from now not the 2 weeks detention, and they put me again onto the Mental Health Act um, against my known municipals, for which I have to defend my family against them getting put under it, and my family being dogs in the sense of being non-convergent. The religious conflate bloodlines and genetics. So while it is still true that I've not been in a fight since prepubescence, I have not instigated. Initiated. I'm going to talk about the topic of religious unifiers. I think they're worse than denominations of churches, which I believe begin because a committee will sit down and say, what is the one true way to teach this or that faith? And then the committee will reach a decision. Watch prophets pray about the Mormon church, and you'll see that the Mormon South had a real fucked up polygamy, multifarious, fuck tons of women gathering, leader Hmong. But so say Freemasonry, for instance, lays claim, and with an icon triangle with an eye space at the top, and then they use the phrase "all-seeing eye." Suppose they were to just unite Christianity and Islam, then would Christianity and Islam still be called Christianity and Islam? What about the known contradictions? Would Freemasonry contain known contradictions? And what would distinguish Freemasonry from being equivalent to just another denomination of an already established and segregated, subdivided religion that couldn't agree with itself because it fucked itself into a rib-based woman? Now, why they're more pred-minded is, and also color biased. You think of God in the garden. I think it's a mud or clay is used for the creation of the first woman in the Quran, perhaps. I'm trying to remember, as opposed from the removed rib of Adam in the Torah and the Old Testament, aka Old Testament for the most part. So you've still got God and a man, and then the man gets lonely and needs a woman created. So she's sort of subservient, and it's got all that sexism to it. Homosexuality is punishable by death, yet it was the world was deemed to be in a good enough state when it was the first man alone with his creator God, everywhere, occupying all space at the same time. And then Freemasonry goes, a homosexual male is a person whose responsibility comes from the rebellion against their own sexuality. All right, well, how more rebellious could you get if you were a supernatural male and occupying all points of space and time in relation to the first male, without having created a woman before him or at the same time as him until he pleaded lonely, and yet not call that like supernatural homosexual, multiplied or cubed, but they'll shape it as a triangle, and a space between the tip of the top tip of the triangle and their all-seeing eye, because they're either somewhat oblivious to looking into their own scheme. So there'd be nothing original there for the Freemasonry, and they'd have to say they're made up of the fact that they've laid this principal claim to being about unity, bringing all the religions together. It's the exact opposite of what happens when denominations are first formed. And it's on par with, which I've suggested for consideration, is that unity, an individual's ability to paradoxically appreciate the unity and diversity at the same time is what balance is about. And if you can think of the quote from Jack the Ripper, the 20th, I will be remembered as the person who gave birth to the 20th century. So, and he was a Freemason, thought to be Freemason. It was how he was able to easily horse and carriage collect whores from the street. Now, I purchase them and then kill them. It's in Hitler, Mein Kampf, where he says, "I believe I am acting as an agent of the Creator by exterminating the Jews, though I'm doing the Lord's work." Not acknowledging Jesus was himself a Jew, and the Jews are conquered people at that time. Might have shrunk his dick. But he too had these views about the master race. The Christian Uniting Church has this view too, because you say, well, what are you in terms of Christianity? Are you another denomination? And they go, we're sort of denomination-less. But that means what will then prove that Catholicism is all forms of Christianity and all forms of Catholicism and all forms of every kind of Christian offshoot that's endorsive of the Holy Bible, as Old and New Testament, in the standard canon, and which particular brand of Bible as well you would prefer and endorse more than any other, is unequivocally settled and agreed upon. Or suck a dick. And so that they'll be more divisive unifiers, and diversity in society will be the marketplace of the sort of trade that profits them and suits their interests. Because they can have nothing but conflict if they've got Adam and Eve cubed 3 times Adam and 3 times Eve, and they've unified it. So what does that make? Or go back to the beginning, Adam and God, plus Adam and God, plus Adam and God. Then their origin story is like 666, force multiplier 666, and they're repressed gays, and they're by their own definition, while being part of a religion that is saying stone to death all homosexuals, and they're claiming to have unified all 3 of those religions. So they would be stoning themselves to death, Roger Tall, Gary Cairns, with 3 stones at least each. And then I guess they'd have to triple verify that they had each died. So they might have to ask me to help. Now, people's ideologies, you can, I think, get along. It's the entanglement of professional roles and that the impositional agenda, if just in the context of a citizen. I'm against cop swapping, where like a dude that's a child abuser gets told to put on a police uniform, and this is a neglected kid, so you do this and you'll fucking do your deed back to society. Fuck them. If they couldn't solve their problems in the first place, don't go and bring them to another fucking person while hiding it. So yeah, alright, groovy. Fuck you. No. Fuck you. Okay. Rick, it's Rick. And anyway, I'm against that agenda. When at police camp, there were introspective elements of overcoming fears that I shared to some extent with some friends, peers there, and one professional of trust. Other than that, I was made to go on this childhood camp against my choice. But now it's been 3 times fucking unconsensual hospitalizations and forced injections of tranquilizers that for me cause aggression, agitate. They cause a genuine sense of aggression in addition to harming the heart. I want cigarettes on the National Health Scheme. The number of pharmaceuticals that have side effects that harm people truly outweigh the product of cigarettes, and pharmacies are more than happy to keep you on nicotine replacement therapy for the entirety of your fucking life. So Medicare should pay for all of our cigarettes. And how perfect that they don't like to say, well, the known side effects of this is potentially this, is potentially this, is potentially this. You know, how perfect they don't want to disclose it, but they want to not let you see the original packaging of cigarettes everywhere. You know, they look at the packaging now. But if I play back this clip to me, I'm a sufferer from it, or I'm a sufferer from it right now as I'm looking at it, because I've been profiled as insane due to video. So once I replay this, I'll be the sufferer of my own recording. For the second time today. And yeah, I think that the copper that pointed his ass at the Dixon Church kids' playground with his knee up in what would be the same position as to bow to receive a monarchical knighthood would while pointing his fucking sphincteral colon at the Dixon Church children's playground, saying to me, "You're not a supervillain. Why don't you obey my command? You don't have the proper authority to even be talking to me, and I'm sitting on a chair." And so anyway, that man, I could see him doing anything from bashing his wife to beating up a kid to fucking getting told about some aspect of my childhood, and then going, well, if you do this, you can make up this. Because Garrett Camps and Roger Toll will float whoever they can fucking find to float. So floaters, it's unfair to say that they're hostage because they're acting complicit with an agenda that we'll know in principle that they haven't examined with enough clarity. And so they gamble, certainly, as well. But why would you want to? Why would you want your land right? Oh yeah, and if you find that the owners of Capital Chemists are going, well, I'm a Freemason, in regions in the ACT where there's no Capital Chemist shop, then they may have shares in being land right insurers, and as a result of that have to lie or use the mention of Freemasonry as therefore grounds to lie about Freemasonry and anything else to you in those regions. How do you like that, Dixon? Little fucking tooth. Why don't you obey my command? No. Adam and Eve's kids had kids with who? Tell me who. And it was so, oh, salute them now, please, won't you salute them? Because you owe it to them, ACT, AFP. If it weren't for their efforts, we would not be alive today to be called an overly populated planet, would we? No, so you better thank them, because what they did was such a duty. It saved the whole world. It was like better than like a military tour. It was just the most fantastic form of inbreeding that the world, and the world needed it bad. Oh, so bad. You know. And then unify that between Judaism, Christianity, Islam, call it Freemasonry. I wonder how pred these two fucking co-created monks get it when you work for them and when you don't. Fuck you. No, fuck you.